gonna end the stream quickly on YouTube and then just create a new video. So give me 3 seconds.
Okay, we're live again. Folks, sorry about that. A few technical difficulties. It's been quite a while since we last live streamed, and we just refreshing our necessary codes and doing a few things behind the scenes here, but it seems as though we are live again. There we go. Alright, folks, so take two. Welcome to everybody. I think we are sorted now. Just another welcome. I think this is maybe the third time around, but I think we are properly live now. Welcome to Mala Mala Game Reserve, and we have the Kampala Pride and single Gari male currently in frame. And with us today on the vehicle, I will show you them at some point, but it's Pete, who I'm sure you're all familiar with, Dan, and myself, Gareth again. And it's a lovely winter's morning here, or afternoon here on Mala Mala Game Reserve. And these lions are just enjoying the last bit of warmth before this evening, where it's going to turn pretty cold as soon as the sun sets. I'd say hello to Nimra from Pakistan, Pak Pik Puk, welcome back from Indonesia, Bernice van der Nederlanden, Mohammed from India, Aranui from New Zealand, Tori from Florida, and to everyone else joining us, as Gareth said, welcome. And Pyromaniacs, where is Mala Mala within the Kruger? So we are technically within the greater Kruger National Park. We do share over a 20-kilometer boundary with the Kruger National Park. It's an open, unfenced boundary, so it's only humans that know the difference. These lions you're looking at now will move freely in between Mala Mala, the Kruger National Park, the Sabi Sands, even into parts of Zimbabwe and Mozambique if they wanted to. Hi Annie, welcome back. Cupcake Sugar Pie from Texas, welcome. Pyromaniacs saying expat living in Israel now. I miss the park, it's the best place on earth. We agree, and the seasons are changing very quickly here. Well, I guess we're nearly midwinter already, but the bush is opening quite a lot here, and this pride of lions is starting to spend a lot more time around the river as water is drying up elsewhere away from the river. So we have a summer rain, and it is now winter where it is relatively dry, and these lions will spend most of their time from here on out until the end of winter along this river in which they are currently lying, which is the Sand River. And they'll lie in the reeds here and just wait for any prey species to come down and drink at the water, and do a lot of hunting along the watercourse and along the river banks. So Nikhil, to answer your question, so the name of this pride is the Kampala Pride. We name our predators according to areas where we first start seeing them, establishing a territory. And no, their name will not change during a takeover.
they will stay the same, but they might get evicted from their land, but we will continue referring to them by their original name.
Welcome back, Johan Duplessis. Nice to see you again. And Sticks and Stones asking any update on the Martley female and cub. Pete, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so Sticks and Stones, we do have an update, and if you stay tuned to our Instagram account tonight, we will post it there. I won't tell you if it's good news or bad news.
Keep you in suspense a little bit longer.
So I'm more on the marketing side of things. So you can see the lion moving in screen now is one of the youngest litters in this pride. There are 4 litters in total, and those 4 litters comprise of 14 cubs, and then there are 6 lionesses. Some of the older cubs are already pretty much, when you see them at a distance, they kind of look like lionesses already. They are getting quite big.
And the older cubs are just over 2 years now. The youngest 3 are just over 1 year, 1 year, 1 month.
Yeah, shame. It has been a while, and we apologize for that. It's been a busy time on the reserve. We are busy burning our fire breaks, which is an all hands on deck kind of job. But we hope to be bringing you more regular streams again in the coming days and weeks.
Welcome back, Christine Prescott. Nice to see you back. Sheila Muir, welcome.
And Brightburn, to answer your question, what their territory range is, if you have a map of Mala Mala in the Sabi Sands, you can just, which you can find, you can Google it, malamala.com on our homepage, on our website. On the homepage, there's a link to a map of the area, and the Kampala Pride pretty much controls, I'd say, about 70% of Mala Mala, and then a portion of the Sabi Sands to our west.
The territory will shift and change. It's very dynamic, and during the winter time the territory seems to narrow along the watercourse along the river here. Maybe not necessarily the territory, they just don't explore the full extent of the territory, let's rather put it that way.
Yeah, so you can't really see it in the picture now, but the watercourse of the Sand River is right next to us, and this is a perennial river. And as we head further into the dry season, this river and its banks will see a significant increase in foot traffic from animals seeking out the river to quench their thirst. So the lions don't have to travel that far in search of their prey. They just wait along the banks of the river and wait for the food to come to them.
And Poiro Maniacs asking, curious as to your streaming setup. How do we even have internet out here? Well, we do have a cell phone tower close by, which and we have cellular range over about, I'd say, maybe 10% of the property. So when we can, we do these live streams on Latest Sightings YouTube channel. Thanks, Nadav. And it's been a while since we had our last one. Like Pete said earlier, we're quite busy with other things at the moment. We're having to burn fire breaks just because all the vegetation is drying out, and the fire breaks help us prevent runaway fires should a fire occur here.
Yamaha Rider, the answer to your question is no. There's no hunting in this part of, well, in Mala Mala at all, or in the Kruger National Park.
Roan, how are you, Roan? Roan, ex-ranger at Mala Mala. And hi to Ross if he's there with you listening.
Yeah, Jane H makes a good point. These lines do seem to be the kind of required 2 meters from each other. It does look like they are practicing a form of social distancing, but that is going to change very soon when they start getting active. Yamaha rider, we're not ignoring your questions. There's just quite a few coming through. I've heard of Rob the Ranger, but I don't know him. And Blair Sinclair, welcome back. One of the Gary males is just at the back of, well, the furthest parts of the screen. You can't really see him, he's lying down in the shade, but just one is here. And not all the members of the Kampala Pride are present either. There are only about 12 of the 20 members here.
Welcome back, Sheila. And Mia Ferreira, welcome back. And Arjuna in.
From Australia, welcome back, Arjuna. Ben Smith asking if the Styx Pride was seen in Malamala in the last 2 months. Ben, the Styx Pride hasn't been seen on Malamala in a while, but I believe one of the young male from the Styx Pride was seen a couple days ago.
I killed Danish. They are not dead. They are just lying down resting. Hi Kimberly, welcome back. Kimberly Lopez.
So Ali asking how many lions are on this pride. So there are 2 territorial males that are dominant over the pride. But if you are referring to the cubs, then at least 6 of the cubs are males. Possibly a couple more, but definitely 6 of them are males.
Mia Ferreira asking how we are. Yeah, we're doing very well, thank you. It's always nice to be out here in the bush. And I'm speaking on your guys' behalf. You guys can say how you're doing. But I'm doing very well, thank you. I had a few days break not so long ago. And feeling very refreshed and happy to be back in the bush here. How are you doing, Pete?
Gareth, I'm good. So Mia, I have a 14-month-old son who kept me awake a bit last night, so if I do trip on my tongue or mumble a bit, might be because I'm a little bit on the tired side of things. But yeah, whenever I'm out in the bush, all those things go away. Blair, I can't see from here which of the 2 gyre males it is, but we'll let you know once we. So not the one with the equals now. Okay, so Dan's had a closer look with his binoculars, and it's not the one with the equal sign. It's the other one, the darker one. And Christine asking if they've eaten recently. It did look like they might have had something last night. Like this pride, being so many lions, there's a very good chance that they probably kill something small. Well, if it's something small, they'll kill at least every night. You can imagine the impala won't last them very long. There are quite a few vultures in the trees around us, so there's a chance they killed something small during the middle of the day here as well.
Then Nikhil Kondapali asking is Styx a place there? Yes, we have a few roads. One road is called First Turning Styx, the other Second Turning Styx, and then we have some rocks that are called Styx Rocks, as well as the Styx Crossing.
Actually quite close to where we are now. So Trump phone call Colby. It's not hot out here at all. It might look that way, but it's just this very warm sunlight. You can see the fact that these lions are lying out in the open is a good indication that they aren't. If it was hot, they'd be in the shade. But it's actually getting a little bit nippy now, so they are lying in the sun on purpose to get a last bit of warmth before darkness falls. And Brightburn, I pulled my hamstring earlier, so I'm not that mobile, but you're more than welcome to come and give that a try. And to Stacy Barr, it's at Mala Mala Game Reserve. So Mala Mala, as you'd said, M-A-L-A, Game Reserve, all one word.
Then Ryder Joyner asking, how old are the cubs? The cubs are, well, there's 14 cubs. 11 of them are between 2 years old and 1 year and 9 months. There are 4 litters of the older ones. Then there are 3 younger cubs which are 1 year and 1 month old.
It's very impressive, Gareth. Did you memorize that?
Well, thank you, Pete. I have no cheat notes here whatsoever. Trouble with these lions is their ages change every month.
And welcome to Retnam Ramesh from Singapore, and from Iraq even. So to all those folks joining us now, I've said before, but we'll just repeat it quickly. We are coming to you live from Mala Mala Game Reserve, bordering the Kruger National Park in the northeastern parts of South Africa, and we're currently with members of the Kampala Pride. We just heard something moving behind us. There's a herd of elephants just behind us that you can't see now. We're just wondering if they're maybe coming closer to these lions.
Kimberly Lopez asking any news on the Piccadilly female and her cub. For those of you who don't know who Piccadilly female is, it's one of the female leopards we have here at Mala Mala, who has quite a young cub, which we discovered just a few weeks ago. Piccadilly female has been seen close to camp on quite a regular basis. When last was the cub seen?
The cub was seen, I think, maybe about 6 days ago.
Okay.
But yeah, we have no reason to believe that anything's happened to the cub. She's still lactating and showing suckle marks. So yeah, we assume the cub is fine.
Hi, Sophia Marie from New York. Ben Smith asking, if new cubs appear in that pride in the next couple of weeks, do you think they can survive in the pride with such big feeding competition?
It's actually a question we've been asking ourselves recently. So typically lionesses will give birth in 2-year intervals. As Gareth mentioned earlier, the oldest cubs are already past the 2-year mark. So now the question is, will these lionesses automatically go back into estrus and start mating and having cubs again? Or is there still too much pressure on the pride as a whole from the rest of the cubs that they will not look to have cubs?
So there is one lioness who has been spending quite a lot of time by herself, and we've been speculating as to whether she might be pregnant or not. We don't know at this point, but should one of these lionesses fall pregnant, they will probably steer clear of the pride for the most part, not just because they can't move very far from where they keep their cubs in a den site. Obviously those cubs are very young if they were to be born now, and they can't move very far, and mum would have to go and hunt to get enough nutrition to produce milk, and then go back to the den site and feed her cubs, and carry on doing that until the cubs are old enough to eat meat, at which point she will have to hunt and then move the cubs to the kill, so she still can't hunt very far away from the den site at that point. Whereas this pride at the moment moves very long distances, almost on a daily basis. They're moving very many kilometers. That lioness with the young cubs wouldn't be able to follow the movements of this pride just for her cubs' sake, should she have cubs. Eventually, when they get a bit older and they can join the pride, they will struggle to compete at feeding time. That's a big bull elephant there, huh? So there's a bull elephant behind us. I'm not going to point the camera there right now. It's walking behind a bush and in the shadows of the riverbank, so you can't see it all that clearly, but if it comes closer I'll definitely show you.
Jennifer Russo, how cold does it get there in winter? So in the dead of night, early mornings, it can get close to 0, but the moment the sun comes up and as it starts rising in the sky, it warms up quite quickly. So early in the mornings you could, because of the wind factor, because we're in these open vehicles, you wearing maybe 4 layers with gloves and a beanie, but as the day goes on you gradually shed those layers, and for most of the day you're actually just in a t-shirt and shorts. It's a very pleasant winter weather.
And then Neil King saying thank you for all your videos over the lockdown, much appreciated. Neil, thank you, we appreciate your comment. And then, did any of you come across the Mapochos and or the Majingalanis? Your thoughts, stories on them? I've spent quite a lot of time with the Mapochos when they first became territorial in this area. They were born on Mala Mala. We knew them, well, they were born into the Ifield Pride, and the Ifield Pride held pretty much exactly the same territory that the Kampala Pride currently holds. And they then reached independence, moved about, or became nomadic for a time. And then when they came back to Mala Mala, they staked their claim, the territory that they claimed was initially in the Mloati River. So they were called the Mloati males here. And I had some great sightings of them. I think after I left Mala Mala first time around, Pieter would have seen the Mapochos quite a bit. So he arrived just after I left the first time around.
Yeah, so I was also here for most of the what we call the Manileti males, the Majingalans. For basically when I started here, they'd just become dominant. They were for quite a few years during my initial stint at Mala Mala, and yeah, it's difficult to narrow down one story, but many amazing sightings with those lions. So Sophia Marie asking how long do lions live? So out here typically females will live up to about 16-17 years of age, and males not as long, maybe up to about 13. And the reason for that is males have quite a tough life. A lot of fighting has to be done, and as they start getting older, they pass their prime, younger males will come and challenge them for their territories, and then the females that come with it. And the males will often die as a result of those fights, whether they get killed in the fight or they just get injured and then they're on their own and they don't have the support of a pride to help hunt for them.
And Mia Ferreira saying, did you guys know Rhodesian Ridgebacks were bred to track lions in Zimbabwe? I have heard of that. And my experience with Rhodesian Ridgebacks is that they're very friendly dogs. So it's hard to imagine them tracking down lions. I don't know how they would have used them to actually hunt the lions, or what their role would have been. I don't know if it was just tracking, or whether they'd have them chase them down, or what the case would be. I don't know how they would have used them. But they are very large dogs.
Nikhil, so the reasons that the wild lions have a shorter lifespan is just because they have a much harder life. If you're living in a zoo, not only do you get fed every day, but you are also taken care of by vets. And Umaira Met, the Kampala Pride has been on Mala Mala for, well, they've been a territorial pride for about, what's it then, 3 years? 2006?
September 2016 they first arrived.
There you go. So September 2016 is when they first started setting up shop on Mala Mala after they broke away from their natal pride.
And welcome back, Sammy J and Casper. Nice to see you back here. Sticks and Stones, do you foresee a breakaway pride forming in the future? What do you reckon, DB?
In the future, yes. The time frame, not sure.
Okay. Yeah, typically with large prides of lions like this, if they continue to grow these prides, they do break up. If all the lions survive in the pride. And this pride seems to be doing very well.
So Susanna from Bolivia, welcome, asking if there's any change in animal behavior since lockdown and the lack of visitors, and the short answer is no. As you can see, these lions they're not paying us any attention. We are pretty much just a fly on the wall. We're just something that to them is part of their environment. They know they can't hunt us. They know that we don't hurt them. So we're just a living creature that, is part of their existence. So they don't pay any attention to us. So whether we're here or not, they go about their normal lives. The only possible noticeable change in future will be any young animals being born now, especially leopards, I'd say. If they're not seeing as many vehicles, it'll just take a little bit longer to acclimatize them to the vehicles than it would normally.
Then Nadav has just sent me a message saying also streaming on Facebook at the same time with a little emoji with sunglasses on. Pretty cool. Thanks, Nadav. So if there are people on Facebook currently watching this and we are not answering your questions, our apologies. We are currently answering the questions on the YouTube feed. So if anybody's commenting on the Facebook page, we haven't actually had a look at that yet. Our apologies if we aren't answering the questions. So we are trying to see on another phone here. Dan's going to open up the Facebook page and see if there's any comments there. And we'll see how well this works.
Arjuna, thank you very much. It was so Nick actually had hours of footage from that sighting, and we just managed to condense it into those few minutes. But it was a very nice sighting. Always nice to see a mother leopard and cub playing around. And for those of you who might not know what Arjuna is referring to, we have been pretty much on a daily basis been posting episodes onto a YouTube page, and part of what we've called our Rangers in Isolation series, which you can find on Mala Mala Game Reserve's YouTube page, and there are links posted to each episode on our social media platforms.
Rosemary Watson, just to answer your question there, do we have to feed them sometimes? How many prides are on this reserve and how many reserves are there? So Rosemary, we don't feed any of these animals. There are very many reserves that border the Kruger National Park. All of those reserves that border the Kruger National Park have open fences with the Kruger National Park. Together with the Kruger National Park, we refer to it as the Greater Kruger National Park. And the Greater Kruger National Park is the size of Belgium. So, although it's very big, we consider it an open system. It's not really, but it is very large, and we let these animals, it's large enough for these animals to catch what they need and to balance themselves for the most part. I think the only thing, one of the areas which the balance is tricky might be with elephants, just because they are very prolific breeders. Their population numbers increase tremendously, and they have nowhere to go. Where they used to go from the east coast of Africa to the west coast of Africa, they are now currently contained within this area the size of Belgium, which sounds big, but for elephants and their ancient migration patterns is actually quite a small area.
If I just do a quick bit of a lightning round just to catch up to the more recent comments. So just if we haven't responded to your questions, we're sorry. Just quite a few coming through. Mere Mala, we are not open now. However, the Kruger National Park will be opening to self-drives, I think, on Monday, but only in the respective provinces, and all the South African national parks, but only within your province. Ben Smith, I believe these males, the Gary males, are the dominant males over the
Tortured Pride.
Yeah.
The Gary male?
No, which one's the dominant over the Tortured Pride?
Vodka. No?
Tortured Pride is Gary males,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
Nkuma is the Northern Avoca.
Yeah. So technically the Gary males were dominant over the Tortured Pride, but we haven't actually seen male lions with the Tortured Pride for quite a while.
Unless you're referring to the young male lion that is currently becoming nomadic, I guess, or breaking away from the Tortured Pride. But we haven't seen them interact with any other male lions to this point.
Kathy Palmer, you're most welcome. It's pleasure is all ours. So Sarah, asking for any information on the Tsalala female and her cub, also known as the Marthley Pride. We do. We'll be posting a little video about that this evening on our social media platforms, so stay tuned for that.
Salvesha Samaga, or Samaga. The kids are washing. Please let us know what their names are. Be nice to say hi to them.
And if they have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them as well. Blair, we have not had any recent sightings of the southern Avoca males, but it's mostly because we haven't really ventured into the southern parts of our reserve. At this time of year, sightings are quite common. It's quite difficult to get down south without finding other animals. So, but we will try and venture further south at some stage.
Brightburn asking which one of y'all is the ladies' man.
It's definitely Dan Bailey.
Well, Pete's the only one with a child, so you must be the ladies' man.
Those days are past behind me now. Dr. Faisal, welcome from Saudi Arabia. Brian Gilman, yes, we did. So that episode of the Kampala Pride attacking the Marthley Pride or Tsalala Pride, that actually took place on Mala Mala Game Reserve. It was close to our boundary with our neighbours. So yes, we did see it, and it's on one of our episodes on YouTube.
And the lioness who got beaten up in that episode, just watch our Instagram page for an update this evening on that lioness, the mouthy lioness.
Ben Smith was that hairy belly Matumba, so one of the Clarendon males. Was he one of the largest males we've seen on the reserve? Yes, he's definitely one of the bigger ones. It's difficult to say with these animals whether or not they're the largest, because for an accurate measurement we actually have to kind of weigh them or measure them. A lot is lost through our errors in our own human perception. I know, for example, seeing a male leopard one day and you think, oh, he's a really big male, and you see the same male leopard 2 days later and he doesn't look that big at all. So also I think being in a vehicle, we're in this big thing that gives us a false idea of how big we are.
Also helps if they're standing next to each other to see different
exactly.
sizes.
But very impressive mane.
He's probably the most impressive maned male I've seen in my time here at Mala Mala. Christine Prescott asking what time they'll be getting up today. Any guesses? Okay, so the time now here in South Africa is 20 minutes to 5. Dan, what's your bet?
7 minutes past 5.
7 minutes past 5. That's a
good time.
I'm very confident. It's actually making me nervous. Dan knows something we don't.
Peter, you're going to take 8 minutes and I'll take 6.
And again, thank you, Christine, for those kind words. So Kathleen Jones asking if those 3 cheetahs are still on the reserve. We last had tracks of them a couple of days ago in the northern parts of our reserve. But because there are only a couple of vehicles out every day, we hardly scratch the surface of our reserve when we go out on our daily drives. So they might be, we just haven't seen them. But so the last known sighting was, I think, almost a week ago now. And Frank, cheers. Unfortunately, we are filming on cell phones, on mobile phones.
I'll zoom in a little bit there for you, just on a fewer lines.
Yeah, so Gareth has zoomed in a bit, but we're not using any fancy cameras out here. We're kind of keeping it simple.
Peter Ferraro, welcome back from New York City. Russell McLaughlin, how are you, Russ?
Russ, aren't you supposed to be working? So, Salvesha, so we have to say hello to, forgive us if we pronounce your names wrong, but...
I'll take the second name.
Ojas.
And Siraj.
10 and 17. Glad to have you guys watching our live stream.
Peter Turtle, welcome back.
Ojas and Siraj, have you been on safari before? If not, you should probably tell your parents to get you over here. Sarah saying Mala Mala is the best reserve, that's why they named it twice. That's right, it's the name's so nice you have to say it twice. I know, it's cheesy. Ben, the Ottawa male was seen on a reserve a few weeks ago. I know he wasn't too far away, about 2 days ago, but he didn't actually come onto Mala Mala.
Oops, and there.
So folks, if you see someone commenting on the stream called Russell McLaughlin, I think Gareth is about to zoom in on him. The film crew that's here at the moment.
Hi Russ, wave for the camera. I don't know if he can hear us. It might take 30 seconds for him to wave.
There he is.
Yeah, okay. We're not going to keep the camera on him too long. We'll get back to the lions. Hi Sally S, welcome back. Cal's Guiding Light, welcome back.
Okay, so Sarvesha, okay, so your comment, so Ojas asking how long the young lions will stay with the pride. So Ojas, how it works is, so in this pride, for example, there are 14 cubs. Some of them are males, some of them are females. Generally what happens is the females will stay with their mothers, they will stay with the pride, and it's the males who will move off and they have to go find, eventually find a pride of their own. And normally they can do that around 3.5 years. Yeah, so generally the male cubs will stay with the pride.
Yeah, and I think it also depends, it depends on pressures from other lions in the area as well. I know if you read in the books it'll say anywhere from 2 to 4 years, but it very much depends on the area and what pressures there are from other male lions in the area. And there's an area that I've been to on the border of South Africa with Zimbabwe, and that area is surrounded by hunting concessions where they do hunt lions, and they had hunted many male lions there many years ago. It's about 15 years ago now, and the territorial male in that region was only 3 years old, and that was because there were no other adult lions to kick him out of that territory. So it depends very much also on the pressures from other predators, or other lions more specifically.
I think similar things have happened in parts of Zambia. I know where unfortunately lions have been poached out, and especially the bigger males. So younger males do become dominant earlier, and we'll see what the knock-on effects of that are later. Meter, no, only some of the lions are here. At least 12 members of the Kampala Pride and 1 Gari male. So one of the males is not here, as well as another 8 members of the Pride aren't here at the moment. They might not be that far away, but
13 in frame now,
including the male.
So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on the male there. He's lying in the reeds there. Mita, welcome back. So the lioness in the foreground, and if you look in the reeds in the background, one of the Gari males is lying there. You can just see a bit of his mane and his paws.
So Umaira, to answer your question, have any of these lions mated recently? So one of the lionesses, one of the 6, has been mating for a few years now, and she's never fallen pregnant, so we think that she probably can't fall pregnant. And then one of the other lionesses one of the mothers of the cubs has started, well, we saw her mate a while ago, and it's her who we suspect may be pregnant again. We're not sure. But it is a possibility.
There's one of the young males is getting a bit restless there. What's the time? It's 10 to 5.
What did Dan say? I said 8 past.
I said 6 past, so I'm closest right now.
Rosemary Watson asking if the lions are resting well because we're in between them and the elephants. Not really, Rosemary. The elephant is far away enough, and there's enough reeds here that it probably can't see the lions. There's not much wind at the moment, so at least there's no wind blowing from the lions towards the elephant, so you won't be able to smell them. And that elephant has actually moved a bit further away now. But our presence doesn't really have any effect on their behavior.
Angie Katz, good morning. It's good afternoon here, but good morning to you. Wondering if there's any news on the Marthley lioness or the Salala female in her cub or the Marthley Pride. Angie Katz, make sure that you check out Mala Mala Game Reserve's Instagram page this evening. We'll be giving you an update there.
So Nikhil asking how common inbreeding is in the pride. It's not common at all, Nikhil, especially in this area with the healthy population of lions and the healthy dynamics. And the reason for that is the younger males do get kicked out by their fathers, and they have to go further afield in order to eventually start setting up their territories. I think lions can have first generation incest before it starts becoming a
five-legged animal.
Yeah.
The manuleti males mated with their daughters.
Yeah. So basically fathers can mate with their daughters, but not past that. Janine asking if they compete with any neighboring prides. They do indeed. So they recently had it was a bit of a one-sided affair where they attacked the Marthley Pride, and the Marthley Pride consists of one female and one cub. So she did manage to escape with her life. And the mother and cub haven't been seen together. So look out for our Instagram post tonight, because we will announce it might be good news or bad news.
Lawrence Jr., it's been a long time. Welcome back.
Unfortunately, Mike isn't here.
Yeah. And Petra Mari Bosman. Hi, how are you? Get done. Let's just see that last.
I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce Idarki.
I think it's dark Revan. I thought
there
those
we
are
go.
eyes, but I think it's just separating.
You are quite right. Dark Revan. He is not that impressive because he's still young. There's not that much of a developed mane yet.
Yeah. So Pete's just pointed out. Are they flying towards us?
I think so. Oh no. Away from us.
Okay, well, we're not going to be able to see those then. I was hoping they're flying towards us, but there's a whole bunch of vultures in the distance there. Maybe I can zoom in a bit and you can't see it. You can just see them flying in the distance there. Okay, back to the lions. So we are expecting this Pride of Lions to be more active during the day from now until November-ish, because it is quite cool here during the day, and it's actually a good time to hunt along the river because a lot of the other prey species will come down and drink at the river during the daytime when the sun comes out and starts heating up. Not many animals will come risk drinking at the river at night. So because it's cooler, they do like to hunt during the daytime over the winter months.
It's a little bit of a different question here. Neil King is asking if we could describe each other as animals, what would it be?
Sheesh. I would, if I were to be accurate and boring, I'd say that both Pete and Dan are typical Homo sapiens.
I think I'm quite a majestic male lion. I know Dan would say I'm more of a silver fox.
Yeah, you actually are quite a silver fox.
Andrew W, we are about 4 meters away from these lions and we're filming with a cell phone, so yeah, we're quite close to them.
Is the camera controlled remotely? No, it's controlled by myself, Gareth. Janine Smith, how often do we live stream? We live stream whenever we get the opportunity to. We rely on cell phone coverage, and the cell phone range is only about 10% of the property. So when there's stuff going down within that range, and if we are available, then we will we live stream. So if you just follow our social media pages and channels, as well as Mala Mala Game Reserves, as well as Nadav's or latest sightings, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all their social media channels. And we put notifications up when you do live stream. If you're on YouTube, you can click the bell, the bell icon to get notifications for when we do go live.
Umaira Mayat, no, I've not met Kevin Richardson, but I do know of him. The Lion Whisperer. Hello to Peter Palmer from San Francisco. Cal's Guiding Lights, asking if we will still do our live streams after when we start receiving guests again, and we are hoping to continue with this. It has been quite well received, so yeah, we're also trying to ensure that we can bring them to you on a more regular basis, with looking for equipment like cell phone signal boosters and such, because we only currently have mobile reception that's good enough for live streaming on about 10% of our reserve.
And hi to Mrs. Lapwing, welcome back.
So Rasha Jackson asking how they protect themselves from poisonous snakes. Well, I think their biggest protection would be their reflexes and their ability to quickly evade something. But I do know of lions that have been killed, have died as a result of a snake bite. In fact, it was one of these guys,
Not sure, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. These males, this male you see in the back of the screen, he used to be part of a coalition of 5, and one of his brothers quite a few years ago died as a result of a snake bite.
Kathleen Jones, a few questions there. How's Robin doing? Well, Robin Sewell's birthday today, so she's doing very well. And then to answer your questions about the flies, we do have some small flies that bite here, but we don't have tsetse flies in this area anymore. There was a rinderpest outbreak in, I think, 1896, and most of the cloven-hoofed animals died in this area, and those tsetse flies relied on those cloven-hoofed animals to survive, and they died out to the point that the tsetse flies, it eradicated the tsetse flies as well. So we're quite thankful that we don't have tsetse flies in this area anymore, but we do have other small biting flies, not quite as bad as the tsetse flies.
Lawrence Jr. is asking us what would we do if 3 lions were in our house.
He's asking Gareth, Peter, and Dan. I'll definitely make sure I'm behind Dan and Pete.
I'll be behind Dan. And they'll probably look to move house.
Welcome back, Superbikes.
So Kathleen Jones, maybe Nadav can help you with that answer. Nadav, who controls this YouTube channel. Why? I'm not sure why you won't be getting the notifications. So not only do you have to subscribe, but then also there's a little bell icon. You have to click on that, and that bell icon should mean that you get notifications.
So Nadav just saying that we've had over 1.5 million viewers over the stream. I'm not sure if you mean this stream or all of our streams. I'm sure you mean all of our streams. It's been so amazing. I hope everyone loves the streams. Yeah, Nadav, it's been great, and I hope everybody is enjoying it.
I think Mrs. Lapwing is looking forward to a gin and tonic.
Yeah. And the question is, yes, the liquor stores have opened again.
Myra might. No, I haven't. We have not met him. I'm not actually sure. Do you know who Dean Schneider is?
No.
Meter, yeah, unfortunately no sign of cheetah cubs at the moment. And yeah, if we do see cheetahs, we will try live stream them for you.
Rex Lineker, buy a donkey, Rex. So I had some Americans visit me here. I was guiding in elsewhere, and they asked me why I kept on saying buy a donkey. So it's pronounced buy a donkey, but it means thank you very much in Afrikaans, one of the local languages here.
So Peter Palmer asking what our current plans are for reopening and receiving guests. Well, not unfortunately, but a lot is out of our hands. It'll just depend on when the government decides when they feel it's safe enough to open up our borders again. So whenever they deem it is safe enough, and I don't think there's a set date for that yet, but current estimations, which are changing almost daily, is that we might be opening international borders only next year, maybe February.
Yeah, and Gideon van der Merwe saying, is Trypanosomiyas, not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that right, not moving down to South Africa. Effective method of control of tsetse flies has not been implemented in Southern Africa for some time, but Botswana still implements control. We haven't had to put any methods or in place too, because there are no tsetse flies here. I'm not sure about that fly whether you're referring to is a tsetse fly, but I know the way they deal with them in East Africa is they put up blue and black flags which attract the tsetse flies, and they put chemicals on those flags which kill the tsetse flies. It's quite interesting because I think the Botswana flag is blue and black as well.
Black, yeah.
And then Oliver Matthew saying 5 to Pete, how's your RCG average looking into double figures yet? So it depends on who you ask. Gareth Nuttall Smith would say it's definitely not into double figures yet.
Pretty similar to when you were here, Ollie. It's on yet another undefeated winning streak. Rex Lineker, how much longer will this stream still be going for? We will try and stay with these lines as long as we can in terms of the lights, but once the light fades, then it becomes a bit tricky filming at night with a mobile phone. So probably another half an hour.
And then, yeah, so... and then Kidia van Rooyen just clarifying there, so it's not a fly at all, it's sleeping sickness.
Which you get from the tsetse
from
fly.
the tsetse fly. So, yeah, Kidia, I don't know enough about that to be able to answer you.
Right, so it's 6 minutes past 5, and these lines are not active yet. So Gareth is wrong. They may be starting to get active, which is not the same thing.
I think we should have clarified what active means before we got to 6 past 5.
But so, yeah, for you folks watching, this one lioness in the center of screen that's now lifted her head and started licking her paws
is getting active.
Yeah, it's, well, time will tell. But it could be a very early sign that they are starting to think about getting active. They take a long time, well, it does vary, but generally they do take a long time to slowly wake up. You'll soon see one of the, two of the other lionesses will start doing the same thing, grooming themselves, yawning, rolling over, falling back asleep again. And the cubs will get involved. They'll move over to each other, they'll groom each other. Quite often it's actually the cubs who get going first, but in this case it's one of the lionesses. Just to quickly go into another topic, Oliver Matthew, have you still having sleepless nights about the googly? Haven't figured it out yet.
It's a lot easier to chirp when you can't reply.
You can type.
There we go, they've heard something. I think there's something in the river there.
So if you folks see all those lions have suddenly lifted their heads and they're looking downstream, which is south.
It's a hyena.
The hyena has crossed the water, and these lions are
active.
Yeah. And it's 8 minutes past 6, and I win. So I'm not sure these lions could have seen what crossed through the river, but they heard something walking through. That hyena decides to walk this way through the reeds, it's going to be in for one hell of a surprise. And so I think these lions heard something move through the water. They initially reacted in case it might have been a certain prey species, maybe impala or waterbuck. And they probably noticed it's a hyena and haven't continued to show much interest. Although lions will try and kill hyenas if they get a chance, but they won't necessarily go out of their way to do it. And just to clarify, hyenas won't try and kill lions to eat them, they kill them to eliminate them as competition.
It's quite a nice view of the backs of their heads now. It's just, you can clearly see the black marks in the back of their ears.
It's coincidentally also the best view of Gareth.
That's why I'm on this side of the camera, Pieter. But you can see how, when they're hunting, how they can coordinate things from watching each other from behind. Those black marks on the back of their ears stand out very much, as well as their tails, that tuft of hair on the back of their tail, on the end of their tails. From the front they're far more camouflaged.
David Tyler, welcome back. If you've said welcome back yet, asking how often do we squabble amongst ourselves, and surprisingly, not often. We don't have a choice, we have to get along.
So the sun has set here, and the light will fade very quickly now, and the temperature has dropped quite considerably already. So we're just gonna wrap
jackets.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Gonna make a little bit of noise. I know some of you were asking when will the reserves open again. I know our national parks, I think the Kruger National Park opens in about a week's time, but only for on Monday, only for self drives, and only, I don't think you can stay overnight. So if you live quite close to the Kruger National Park, you can take your car in and go and do some game viewing, but only for the day. I'm sure there will be long queues at the gates with people trying to get in. Nadav, will you be one of them?
I'm sure that Dove is chomping at the bit to get back in the Kruger. Dan Bailey, we have a question for you from Mike Kirkman. He's asking if you're feeding his fish.
Yes, I'm looking after your fish, Mike.
So for those of you who are wondering where Mike Kirkman is today, he's on leave, and he's obviously left his fish behind. They are well cared for, Mike. They're all swimming in the Sand River right now.
So Lisa asking if this resting spot is often used by the Pride. So Lisa, they have a very, very large territory. It covers several thousand hectares, and within that there are certain areas where we are kind of more likely to see, like if they are in this general area, then there are certain spots within that area where they are kind of maybe more likely to be. Yeah. In a roundabout way, yes, sometimes, like when they are in this area, this is quite a common place for them to be.
It's nice and sandy and comfortable, but on a hot summer's day there's no shade. Yeah. But in winter it's nice to sun themselves on.
Nadav says he wishes he could be there tomorrow, but he has exams to study for.
Oh wow.
I'm still the dominant now.
So Ben's, one of our other rangers, has just found some more lions in the northeastern parts of our reserve, quite close to a herd of buffalo. He hasn't given us the ID on those lions yet, but I'm guessing it might be members of the Tortured Pride. They were trailing a herd of buffalo earlier.
Nadav, good luck with your exams. I'm sure you'll do fine.
Peter Palmer, yeah, that lion on the left is definitely embracing that pose.
Really trying to see more. Okay.
So Angie Pop, yes, we do have an update, and we will be sharing it on our Instagram feed later today. So just watch it at Mala Mala Game Reserve Instagram feed. So Nikhil asking what happens if we get down from the Jeep and walk into the Pride right now. Well, firstly, one of those things where you wouldn't recommend trying it. But typically the lions their initial reaction will be to back off, because it'll be a sudden, they'll get a fright where something has come out of nowhere, so they'll initially maybe take a few leaps away from you. But once they call your bluff, things could change. Rex, so we think they did kill something during the midday periods, maybe something small. There were some vultures in the area, but none of them are particularly full, and neither are they don't really have empty stomachs either. Hi guys, and especially Gareth.
Hi Maggie and Gordon, welcome back. And hi to Terry, nice to see some family on there. Maggie, there are no white lions here. There are a few that are lying on their backs, and you're probably just seeing the underside of their bellies there. Still got it. Mita asking, would the pride split up for hunting purposes? Mita, occasionally the pride might split up. Sometimes the adult lionesses leave the younger lions behind, and it might be because the younger lions are spoiling the hunt, or had been spoiling many hunts before that point. And then sometimes let's say a lioness should give birth to cubs now, those cubs would not be able to walk with this pride because they wouldn't be very mobile yet, and that lioness would have to stay close by to those cubs, in which case she would have to hunt for herself, and she would not hunt with the pride. Peter Palmer asking, what does Kampala mean? Are the prides named after places? They are indeed. We name our cats after areas on the property where they first established their territories. The Kampala Pride are named after Campbell Koppies. So Campbell Koppies is named after Wack Campbell, who was one of the owners of Mala Mala many years ago. And his local nickname was Kambula.
And so Arjuna saying grooming happening, movement in 5 minutes. And folks, you can see a lot of the lions have started to put their heads up now, they're grooming themselves and each other. And Arjuna, it's anyone's guess. It could be 5 minutes, or they could all go back to sleep, and it could be another half an hour. But let's hope for 5 minutes.
And then Nikhil saying, but how come the name is Birmingham, a place from England? Nikhil, the funny thing about a lot of these farms in this area is that they were named after places far and wide. We have a Utah, we have a Birmingham, we have a Wales, Calcutta, London. So yeah, that's just farm names, and that's probably just a relic of colonialism. Mark Bloomfield asking, is Kruger open for visitors yet? I've seen the Dove's quick on it there. It is open for visitors, but only visitors that are within the same province as Kruger. And you can only do day trips. There's no overnight stays yet. Gideon just asking a little bit about the veld and the rainfall. So yeah, like what rainfall do we get here? We get
our annual average is about 550 mils. We've had about 500, I think just over 500 so far this rainy season.
Yeah, And on the crests, we have a lot of Combretum woodland. There's a lot of sandy crests up here with marulas. And then obviously here down at the river we've got riparian woodland all along the banks of the Sand River. Got a few sodic sites around. There's all sorts of different vegetation in there, from guarri trees to jacket plums to gardenias. I don't know if that answers your question somewhat. I don't know how well you know this area, but if you've ever been to Skakuza, we are just north of Skakuza. So the veld here is very similar to that, the veld around Skakuza. Welcome back, KG1. Rachel O'Connor asking, where on the reserve are we now? So we are in the western parts of the reserve. The river runs along the western parts of the reserve from north to south. And we are probably about 1 kilometer, if that, north of Rattray's camp. And we are just north of the confluence of the Machapiri River, where the Machapiri River meets the Sand River.
So Charlotte Nicholson, we share a common border. And Nadav misses the bush so much, they're getting tired of the howdy-does, Nadav.
Rex Lineker asking, would this area be underwater in summer? Definitely at certain points in summertime. This river does flood bank to bank. But the water channel is a few meters, or about 30 meters to our west. So it'll take a bit of rain for the channel to reach here.
So Stephen also asking if we allow hunting on Mala Mala. We do not, and we were actually the first game reserve to make the move from hunting safaris to photographic safaris back in early 1960s. So we just shoot with cameras.
So it looks like they are now officially starting to get active. I don't know how much longer the light is going to hold for us. It's a lot lighter on the screen than it is out here. Okay, they're just going to the toilet there. We'll give them some privacy. See the Gari male's just lifted his head there on the right of screen.
So Umaira, Charlotte is correct. That is the reason. Derek Visser, no, they do. They maybe go into Kruger a couple times a year, and they don't go very far east of Mala Mala. They just briefly go and they come back. Our eastern boundary of the Kruger Park is pretty much there as far as they'll go. Nikhil, so Mala is a very large reserve, so we do have open grasslands, and then we do have these kind of thicker riverine forests as well, and then we've got areas with a lot of rocky outcrops, so the vegetation does change a lot. Sorry, folks, I'm trying to get to everyone's questions, but if we have missed your question, we are sorry. It's well, not intentional, just happened to be overlooked. And also these lions are starting to get active. We will follow them for a little bit longer, but unfortunately once the light goes, then we will go with the light. Thank you, KG, saved me from having to say it. Charlotte Nicholson, yes. So Gareth and myself have been here for the whole of lockdown. Dan did join us when it went down to level 4. Sheila Muir, we're looking forward to your return, as we are to all our past and future guests. Annie, that's Dan. He's getting a bit cold, so he's putting on his jacket. And Kathleen, we will pass on your happy birthday wishes to Robin. Charlotte asks if it ever gets a bit much for us being out here for so long. And not for me, Charlotte. I was born in the bush basically, and I was born in a very remote part of Zambia.
You make it sound like you were born in an actual bush. He does behave like he was born in an actual bush. Yeah, I think all of us are here for a reason. So now we don't get tired of this very quickly. This pale lioness center of screen is the one that Pete was talking about earlier, that's been mating repeatedly and doesn't seem to fall pregnant.
Maybe just drive a little bit of track south of West Street on the way up, see if we can see anything from the top, and then maybe show them the mail.
Yeah.
The mail, yeah.
I don't know how much longer this is going to hold. So I think we are going to try and get a little bit closer to the Gari Mail before the light gives completely. It is very dark here now. But yeah, we've enjoyed your company again. It's been a while, and we do enjoy these live streams, and we hope you enjoy them too. And thank you for joining us. And good luck with your exams, Nadav. And maybe just before the light fades completely, just to the people on the vehicle, to Dan.
Thanks for a great afternoon, folks.
And then to Pete.
Have a good evening. And hopefully we'll be able to live stream again soon.
Okay. And then from myself, Gareth, thank you very much. We enjoy your company. You hear that bird calling now? It's just the Scops owl.
It's quite a nice image of the silhouetted.
Oh, there we go, yeah. So that's maybe a better idea of how dark it currently is.
And just for all of you who are missing Africa, that sight should make you miss it even more.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm wondering, you'll probably get up soon. I'm just wondering if the light's going to last until that soon.
So Arjuna, yes, my specs are holding up with this temporary fix. I have to admit that I did have an opportunity to get it fixed the other day. I think I've kind of become attached to this look.
Sure, Dan, I think we might just need to get a bit closer to this light. Phone's not coping with the light. So we're just going to get a bit closer to the Gari Mail and just give you a look at him before the light goes completely. He is head up He has yawned, but by the time he moves there may not be any more light for you to see him. So we're going to show you the Gari Mel and then we are going to say our goodbyes.
Put the headlight on it.
I don't think.
I've got the camera just left hand down. Not going to fall from your side.
That is quite dark.
Yeah, light here.
No. Folks, I think, I don't know if you can see that, but I think we're going to call it a night.
Yeah, I can barely see anything.
Yeah, so thank you a lot. You can end the stream. We enjoy your company and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, go.
Okay, Dan's just brought out his torch so we can actually see the line there. And everybody's saying, thanks guys, safe travels back to camp.